This is From Hero to Zero, a show about the misconception of the demise of the music industry. We talk to heroes to make sense of the alleged zero, the music business. Hey DJ, how are you,
brother?
Very good. Thank you for taking time off your busy schedule.
Thank you, Sebastian. This is going to be fun, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, DJ Ashba, you've been in the music scene for a couple of decades, I would say?
Yeah, I'm like a vampire. I think I'm like 130 years old right now.
Well, you don't look 130 or well preserved. Very good.
Thank you.
So, DJ, where do you see the main differences between being an artist today, 2016, compared to when you started in the mid-90s?
Well, I started before the internet, so I think the internet has changed the game significantly. Like, back in the day, what I miss about no internet is there's a mystique about rockstar. Now you can follow every little move on Snapchat, which is cool too, but it's just a whole different time,
Definitely. So you just mentioned you started before the internet.
Scary, isn't it?
Scary thing, no? But I remember.
Yeah.
How did you perceive that disruption?
Well, I think like everybody else did, I thought in the beginning, okay, this isn't going to last. Whatever this is, AOL dial-up thing, I didn't really understand it because there were no websites. And then all of a sudden a couple websites, you're like, but it was mostly you'd go on and you've got mail and check your mail. And, I remember the first time they wanted a credit card, I was like, you guys are high. You ain't getting my credit card. Now it's like you don't shop without going online. So it's I love the internet more than life. I'm such a technological. I love techie stuff, and I just love it. I embrace it. Yeah.
I read somewhere that you like to produce music digitally, all in a box.
Yeah.
So I assume there are no 2-inch tapes.
No. I've never produced an album with 2-inch tapes. I've always, I kind of came in right after. I've recorded some albums like that, but never sat behind and actually spliced tape. And so I've always done things out of the box. And, it's one of those things where I'm more into movie scoring than anything, believe it or not. I used to produce a lot of different people like Neil Diamond and Motley Crue I co-produced and different people, but lately I'm more into like scoring movies. I'm finding my heart naturally, being a creative mind and creative person, is movie scripts, and I'd like to direct my own film one day, and that's kind of where my head's at, is more TV and film. Yeah.
Interesting. And talking more about creativity, I saw that you own different companies like Ashba Media, Ashba Clothing, and so on. Yeah. And what really struck my attention was in 2003 you won a pitch out of 106 or 7 companies to actually be the branding and marketing agency for Virgin Music Megastores.
Virgin Megastores, worldwide.
Can you elaborate on that? I mean, you were quite young.
Yeah, I was young. I've always been an artist. I've always been very creative, and way back before I had money, before I made it in the music industry, I used to build everybody's websites. I was kind of the guru guy on computer. I could code web pages, and back when MySpace, I would be customizing everybody's MySpace pages before people knew how to do it. I was coding. So, I'd have people like Nikki and James and all my friends around me at that time would be paying me money to build them websites and code, and that's how I made a living for a short time. And along the way, I would meet some really great graphic artists and stuff, and I would work on different sites with them. And I overheard somebody, actually James is dating this girl named Dee, and she was head of marketing. And she kind of gave me the clue, and hey, I know Virgin's going to be looking, and I was like, that's cool, but I don't. And she goes, you should put together, you're so good at what you do, you should put together a small team and come in and pitch a thing. I was like, really? So I didn't have a lot of money at the time, but I went and took, I had a couple $1,000s to my name, and I took 1,000 of that and went and incorporated the name Ashba Media. And I bought an 800 line just so it sounded like I had a professional company. And at the time, and I called my 3 buddies and I said, listen, this is the idea. Would you guys be willing to put in like 2 weeks of hard work with me? And if we land it, I'll put you on salary for as long as we have it. And they all agreed, and we sat down in a living room and started drawing and created these beautiful ad campaigns, beautiful. And I knew we had something great, you know, because we're perfectionists, you know. And then I had to walk in and do this massive meeting, and I walked into Megastore or Virgin Entertainment, and it was like boardroom full of suit and ties, and I was like tattooed dude, and I was like, I'm bad at public speaking, and I'm like, oh man, they're gonna hate this. But I knew in the back of my head, when I pulled that cover off, we had something great. And I did, and I heard the whole room gasp. They're like, oh. And so I left, and I got a phone call, and they said, how much do you want? And you gotta understand, I borrowed money at that time just to kind of get me through, and I was like, I don't know, and I threw out some ridiculous number, and they're like, okay, you start Monday, and we beat out 106 professional companies, and we did all the marketing and branding for Virgin, and that was the start of Ashba Media.
Mm-hmm. So obviously,
and now it went from that, and now it's a multi-million-dollar company, and it's doing phenomenal things out in Vegas. We're doing tons of stuff for Cirque du Soleil and the TV show Tank for Animal Planet and Sebastian, and we do a lot of designing for 6 a.m. Like I designed the 2 new album covers, and so it's cool.
Really cool, really cool. So basically what you're doing is, as I heard you say in another interview, you don't place all your eggs in one basket.
No.
Do you think that is a necessity nowadays as an artist, as a musician?
I do. It's you have to be able to diversify. You have to be able to go, okay, if you put all your eggs in one basket, right, and it doesn't happen, you're gonna screw yourself. But you don't want to do so many things to where you can't give each thing the proper amount of attention. So I do the clothing, I do the media company, and I do my band, and everything kind of works. But the thing I have is I've handpicked all of my employees. So, it's completely separate companies, but they're all handpicked, and they're all phenomenal at what they do. And so you got to work and put together a team of people that you really trust. And yeah.
You're obviously very good at digital marketing.
Yeah.
I mean, your Twitter account has more than 1 million followers,
Yeah.
and so on. Do you use it purely as a branding channel for DJ Ashba?
Not at all. In fact, I think that's why I do have so many people. Yeah, you want to go on and maybe promote the new ashbaclothing.com t-shirt that's coming out, because there are fans all around the world. When I get off a tour bus, it doesn't matter where I'm at in the country, there are fans wearing Ashba clothing. It's just the coolest thing. The clothing has just taken off, but so you want to give those fans a heads up when there's new stuff coming up, but you don't want to spam your fans. You want to show them respect. And I go on there and I use mine to connect to my fans. I love talking to the fans and answering questions, and that's what I try to use it for the most.
Interesting. With your new album, you have a campaign with the hashtag Reason to Rise, right?
Right.
What's the idea behind it?
Well, we all three feel very strongly, my reason to rise has always been anti-bullying. It's such a huge thing online even. It's like all these young kids are taking their lives because they're getting bullied online. That's what I'm passionate about, trying to help kids that are getting bullied and people in general getting bullied, and try to stop that. And Nikki's is the heroin epidemic, and James is the human trafficking, and those were our three. And then we kind of put it out there online, and we asked the fans, what's your reason to rise? And it just exploded. Like people, we get thousands and thousands, and it was like, wow, and you realize nobody out there is perfect. Everybody out there is just trying to live the best life we can, trying to live from one day to the next. And, and humans are really good people. And you do have the couple bad ones that are out there shooting up schools and shooting up things. But, our whole thing with the song Rise is reminding people that we are really powerful when we all come together, and to use your voice and stand up for what you believe in. Don't sit on your hands and then bitch because, you know, this went that way or this went that way. Get up and take a stance and try to make a difference in this world. We're only here for a little while, you know.
Sure.
So.
Well, beautifully said. Well, DJ, thank you so much.
Thank
All
you.
the best.
Thank you. You too. Thank you.
See you again.
Love you guys.